one of the other feelings of the holiday, and I think we've touched on this a little bit before, is that feeling of melancholy. Because I think holidays not only can be lonely, but they can also be quite anxiety driving. And like we were saying earlier, you're starting sort of a new chapter in your life, and there is sort of anxiety around that, like what is that going to look like, and a lot comes with that. So with that in mind, I picked Carol, which is a 2015 movie directed by Todd Haynes, starring Kate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, Sarah Paulson, a whole bunch of other great actors. The quick log line on the movie is: an aspiring photographer develops an intimate relationship with an older woman in 1950s New York. I mean, talk about atmosphere and Christmas feeling. I don't even know if I can articulate well as to what a master Todd Haynes is, especially like of this 1950s New York time frame. This movie is shot on film. You really sort of see the graininess of the shopping malls and the streets, and the time during the Christmas, which is vibrant and beautiful. But at the same time, you know, there's sort of layers of darkness and melancholy and loneliness that's sort of woven over this really beautiful, cheery time. And we talk about movies and why movies are great. I think this is one of those movies where I just think all the departments come together in such a perfect way, from the cinematography by Ed Lockman, um, great score by Carter Burwell. Like, it all sort of layers in to create this atmosphere of, yeah, it's beautiful, it's cozy, but it's also kind of lonely. And I think that's sort of what this movie gets at. And then I guess the other big layer on top of it is the layer of love. I think that's the other big feeling that I wanted to make sure that I put on this list, is that yes, there's family, there's joy, there's loneliness, but there's also love. And ultimately, this movie is a love story of two people, falling in love. And you really see that. We live in a world today where rom-coms and love stories are not really put on the screen the way they are. But I think this is one of the great love stories that was put on the screen in the last, however many decades, where you really see two people falling in love with each other. One person which is Rooney Mara's character, who's younger, is not fully aware of her sexuality or what she's even into, kind of exploring, what love even means, versus Kate Blanchett, who's an older person who kind of is very self-assured and aware, but is also living in a precarious situation where she's married to a man and has a child. And there are all these, ramifications just based on the time of being gay, and what does that look like. And there's all of this, attacking that's happening in her family, where the husband knows and wants they want to separate, and he wants custody of the daughter. But you can see that there's also is love there, and she loves her daughter, and she wants that home and that feeling of home in her life as well, while she's also falling in love with this younger person. So, for those of you who haven't seen it, like, I won't spoil the ending, because I really, really recommend people watching this movie. For me, this is now a holiday classic that I watch during the holidays, but every time I want to go back to that place of holiday cheer with just a little dash of melancholy, which is, I think, my favorite state of mind. This movie just does that. It's sort of like a dream-like, you know, poem, almost, of about the holidays. So yeah, that's my number one, Carol.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of this film. I'm a big Todd Haynes fan, and I feel like this might be one of his best movies, or at least in his best of his recent films. It's interesting that you associate this with the holidays, and now that you say this, I can understand why this definitely is now a rotating holiday film for you. For sure, like visually, it is just very warm. I don't really know how to describe it well enough in terms of like how the cinematography and the shots and the paint, it just everything just feels very warm. There is that warm feeling, which is again something that gets evoked in the holidays, and that this is a love story. And I think that is another really important part of the holidays too. Much like, the films I were just talking about, those Hallmark films, a lot of them are like romantic comedies, like love always factors into it. And in a weird way, I feel like almost the end of the year is more of like a season of love and romance than even, the Valentine's Day is sort of meant to be. Like, I definitely feel that feeling of love and importance of that at this time of year. And this movie definitely is one of the best romance films I've seen in this century for sure. It's just a great, I don't want to get too much into the plot because like you said, I think folks might not have seen this film before, and I highly recommend it. Watching it, kind of going in, not knowing a lot about the plot other than what you've already described, but it is just a fantastic film. Every time I see it, I appreciate it more and more.
Totally.
It's great.
Such a masterpiece. And speaking of the holidays, like it is set in the holiday time frame. And I love sort of the 1950s department stores and the iconography of the toys and all of that, which is again details, right? Like it's talk about world building, that feeling of warmth that you're talking about, like all of these layers from the production design to the music, like I was saying, it all adds up. So yeah, such a masterclass in filmmaking, I feel like.
Hey there, it's Alex. If you like the review and discussion Karan and I just had, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Movies That Shaped Us, to get full episodes. Every other Wednesday, Karan and I cover a topic around important people, places, events, and moments in our lives, and then explore it through 3 of our favorite movies. Subscribe right now, or follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts via the link in the description below. Hope you join us for the journey.